Hello and welcome all of you to Unacademy. Well, let's crack your 9th and 10th examinations with Unacademy with the help of top educators, quality content, and definitely with great learning experience. With Unacademy, you have the access to unlimited live and recorded courses from India's best educators. Therefore, I welcome all of you on Unacademy. But first, let me introduce myself. I am Tasneem Ahmed, and I have completed my master's and MPhil in English. I have also been certified in TESOL, and I have trained 1,000 plus students, and I have 8 years of professional experience. Therefore, be rest assured you are in good hands. In this video, we will be discussing about punctuations and the rules to use them in your writing to make your writing interesting and bring in that style that is required. But first, let me give you a little insight on what you will get at Unacademy. Well, Unacademy has daily live classes where you can chat with your educator, engage in discussions, ask your doubts, and answer polls all while the class is going on. And then you have live tests and quizzes to evaluate your preparation. And then you have structured courses and unlimited access to daily live and recorded courses, which you can watch from the comfort of any of your devices. All you have to do is buy the subscription, get your free live classes and prepare with the top educators and get the access to comprehensive syllabus of mathematics, social science, Hindi, science, and English. Well, you can also talk to us on Telegram application. All you have to do is download the Telegram application, type the link in URL and click on join, and then you will be good to go. One last thing is for you to install the application Unacademy Learning app, which is compatible with any of your device. Go ahead, download the application and then buy the subscriptions. We have many number of subscriptions for 9th and 10th graders equally. Well, there is a subscription for 6 months, there is a subscription for 12 months, and then 24 months, and then 36 months and 48 months. Each subscription has an amount of discount on it. Well, if you go ahead for 12-month subscription, you get 50% discount. 12-month is actually for 1 year, wherein you will be paying 13,500. That is with the code TA01. If you type the code TA01, you will get additional 10% discount on the existing 50% discount. That is, you will get totally 60% of discount on your 12 months subscription. If 24 seems too much, 36 seems too much, if 48 seems too much, go ahead and buy the course of 12 months and pay 13,500 rupees with the discount of 60%. Remember, you have to type the code TA01 when you proceed to pay. With that, you will be paying only 1,125 for a month. That is for your 9th standard subscription. If you are a 10th grader, then you will have to go ahead with either 6-month subscription or 12 months or 24 months or 36 months. Well, if you pick a 12 months subscription, you again have 50% of discount already. But if you type the code TA01, you get additional 10% of discount, which is you will get the subscription of 12 months for 60% of discount and only for 13,500 rupees, where you will be paying 1,125. So what are you waiting for? If you are a 9th grader or a 10th grader, go ahead, subscribe it for 12 months if you find 24 months too much and 36 months too much or 48 months too much. Do not forget, it's an investment that you make into your education. Therefore, go ahead, buy the subscription, proceed to pay, and do not forget that you have to type the code TA01 to get that extra 10% of discount on the existing discount that you have. Now let us proceed towards today's topic, which is punctuation. Well, what is punctuation? Punctuation, let me explain you that with an example. Let us take this example, and I want you to read this for me. Let's shoot Sheldon, shall we? Well, does that make any sense at all to you? How would you read it? Where would you take a pause? How would you decide where exactly to pause? Is that all obvious? Is that clear to you? Of course not. It doesn't make any sense at all. Now let us take the second one. And now let us try reading this statement. Let's shoot. Sheldon, shall we? Now you can see that we have used a comma, an apostrophe, an exclamation, and a question mark, which actually gives us the details of where to pause, where to intonate, where to apply stress, and where not to apply stress. So this is what is called as punctuation, when you include particular marks like these, like a comma, like an apostrophe here, like an exclamation here, and a question mark over here. When you include these kind of marks in your writing, then these kind of marks are called as punctuation marks. Well, how do they help us? Well, the absence of punctuation marks could create confusion. Obviously, like we discussed earlier, without the punctuation marks, you wouldn't know where to pause and you wouldn't know how to proceed about them. Next, they help you express clearly. Yes, of course, with the inclusion of punctuation marks, you will know where to pause, where to stress, and where not to. Therefore, it helps you express clearly. It adds style to your writing. Definitely, yes. When you use all those punctuation marks, it gives style to your writing. And then finally, it helps your reader understand better. Well, the whole purpose of using punctuation marks is to write better and to make it available for your reader. So when you include these punctuation marks in your writing, your reader is going to understand each and every line better, and he is going to understand what you are trying to express in your writing. So that is the purpose behind using punctuation marks. Let us proceed and learn about these punctuation marks one by one. Number one is period, which is also referred to as full stop. So full stop means that you have to take a complete pause. Period, like I said, full stop is used at the end of an assertive and imperative sentences. I hope you remember about assertive and imperative sentences that we learned in our video number 1. If you haven't, I would suggest go back and watch that video and come back to this video to learn about punctuation marks. But still, let me give you a little insight about what is an assertive statement. Assertive statement is a statement that declares or states a fact, and it ends with a full stop. An imperative is a kind of statement which gives commands, requests, and also ends with a question mark. So not with a question mark, with a full stop. So assertive statement and imperative statements end with a period. For example, she is very talented. You can see that we have taken a complete pause over here. It's not a short pause, but then it's a complete pause over here. So when you are ending a sentence that is assertive or imperative, you end it with a full stop or a period. Also, to an abbreviation, like when you use abbreviations like this, or when you are addressing somebody with Mr., Mrs., Miss, or be it doctor, you use a full stop right next to the terms that you refer. So these are the two functions of a period. Now let us move to the next one, which is a question mark. Question mark is used at the end of an interrogative statement. What is an interrogative statement? Interrogative statement is a sentence which demands an answer in return or asks a question like, what is he doing? So to show that you need an answer in return, you use a question mark at the end like this. So that's another punctuation mark that we have. The next one is exclamation mark, or the one which looks like this. Now you use exclamation mark at the end of an interjection. Interjection is a word that expresses strong emotion. So you use an exclamation mark after the interjection, like wow or hooray. So you can see that the exclamation mark has been used. Another situation where you use an exclamatory mark is at the end of exclamatory sentences. And what are these exclamatory sentences? These exclamatory sentences are nothing but those which express strong emotions like, what a lovely dress, you can see that we have used an exclamation mark at the end. So when you are expressing strong emotions, be it a word or a statement, you end it with an exclamatory mark. So there you have about exclamatory mark. Next one is a comma, and a comma is a short pause in a sentence. Unlike a period. Period is a complete pause, whereas a comma is a short pause. It is used to separate words, phrases, and clauses in a sentence. Like for example, Penny likes ice cream, comma, take a short pause. However, another short pause. She hates butterscotch, pause, pistachio, pause, and strawberry flavors, end. So we have taken short, tiny pauses over here, very, very tiny pauses over here. So that's the purpose behind using a comma in a statement. If a period denotes a complete pause, then a comma denotes a short pause. That's about comma. The next one is colon. Colon is when you have the reference of two dots like this, like the way you see it over here. It is used at the beginning of a list or explanation, description, or a definition to indicate a pause. Colon also indicates a tiny pause, unlike period. Period, like I told you, it's a complete pause, whereas colon is a short pause. But the question is, where do we actually use it? We use it like this in statements. Let's take the example. We need to order things for the party. Now you have your colon over here. It's a short pause. Remember, it's a short pause, not a complete pause. You take the colon over here, then you begin the list. That is drinks, snacks, extra plates, appetizers. And you end it with a full stop at the end. That is period. So when you are introducing a list or giving an explanation, like for example over here, or giving the reason to why something has happened when it is relevant to the main clause, to the first clause in one complete statement like this. She will not survive. Why? Because she is injured badly. So this is the reason that she will not survive. And to show that explanation, to give that explanation to why she wouldn't survive, we can use a colon. We can certainly go ahead and use the conjunction there, but you can also use this colon, which functions like a conjunction, which is a replacement of a conjunction. But the purpose is, the function is, it should be an explanation to why something is happening. Like, she will not survive. Why? Because she is injured badly. So this is an explanation to why she will not survive. So in these kind of sentences, you can very well go and use the colon. Next one is semicolon. Semicolon is also another short pause where you have a dot and a comma below. And semicolon links two clauses like conjunction does. Semicolon is a replacement of words like however, therefore, nevertheless, meanwhile. Like, for example, the quality of the material is good. And you can see the usage of semicolon over here. However, instead of the semicolon, you could have possibly used however, but you are not using however, but instead you are using the semicolon, and you go ahead and you can you add your another clause, which is, I don't like the color. So the quality of the material is good. However, I don't like the color. Or the quality of the material is good. I don't like the color. So this semicolon is a replacement of the word however. In this statement, the next one, I will start doing the dishes. You can see the usage of semicolon over here. I will start doing the dishes. Meanwhile, the conjunction that we could have used over here is meanwhile, you can start cleaning the house. So instead of using meanwhile, we went ahead and we have used the semicolon over here, which is like this. I will start doing the dishes. You can start cleaning the house. So semicolon is actually the replacement of conjunctions like however, therefore, nevertheless, meanwhile. So semicolon is another short pause in a statement. The next one is quotation marks. because we use that in plural because we have two quotation marks over here, one in the beginning of the statement and one at the end where we are going to write our content, and it is called as quotation marks, and another name for it is double inverted commas. Now, where do we use it? Quotation marks are primarily used to reproduce the same words said by someone. Like, let us take an example. Robert said, you can see a comma here, and you can see the double inverted commas starting. I am going to be late for dinner. So this is what we have reproduced, as in, there is a guy, Robert, and he said something. He said, and now let us say there is another guy called Ben. So Ben heard Robert speak, and he heard Robert, and he came to Ted, and now he is informing Ted what exactly Robert said. So he is repeating Robert's words, same exact words without any change at all in the statement. Like, Robert said, what exactly did Robert say? I'm going to be late for dinner. These were the exact words which were expressed by Robert, which were heard by Ben, and he is repeating the same words. So when he is repeating the same words, he needs to put that in inverted commas. That is why we have used the double inverted commas over here like this. Number two, another example, she asked me. What exactly did she ask? How are you doing? She asked, how are you doing? So to reproduce the same exact words of the speaker, we use the quotation marks or double inverted commas. So that's it. One usage of the quotation marks. Number two, quotations are used to emphasize the titles. The titles of what? Titles of books, maybe newspapers, magazines, storybooks, novels, anything. When you have titles and when you want to emphasize those titles, you use double inverted commas like this. Sidney Sheldon's Rage of Angels is one of the books that I read very often. So this is your complete statement. And inside that complete statement, you are actually highlighting or emphasizing on the title of the book, which is Rage of Angels. So to bring about that, you are using the quotation marks like this. Another usage of quotation marks is to emphasize the phrases or words in a sentence. Like, let us take this example, this sentence, which is, the idiomatic expression to say it's very easy is piece of cake or cakewalk. Now, this is something you are highlighting, you are emphasizing, you are expressing. This is your complete statement and you're trying to share some information with somebody. And how would you? While you're sharing that information, there is something that you want your reader or the listener to focus on. So how would you do that? The idiomatic expression to say it's very easy is, put your commas, inverted commas over here, and bring about your phrase like this or like this. So another usage of quotation marks is to emphasize on a particular phrase or a word or words for that matter. Another example would be, although it's a little boring, it certainly deserves a thumbs up. Now you can see that this is not a recreation of any words, but instead an emphasis on a particular word, that is thumbs up. So that is another use of quotation marks. Next, we have punctuation with quotation phrases, which is very important for you to understand. Let us take the same examples which I had given you earlier, which are, Robert said, I am going to be late for dinner. Now, this is one clause. This is clause number one. Clause number one. And now this is clause number two. So this is one clause and it ends with a comma, and the second clause, which is inside inverted commas, and it is, I'm going to be late for dinner. Therefore, this full stop is deserved. This is needed. This period is needed by this statement, which is inside the inverted commas and not relevant to this statement. Completely, yes, of course, but then this statement inside the comma, inverted commas, also deserves a full stop. So we place it inside the double inverted commas. Next one, she asked me, how are you doing? So over here, she asked me is your one clause. and how are you doing is your another clause. And this statement within the inverted commas is your question. That is why it demands a question mark. Therefore, you have placed your punctuation mark, which is a question mark, inside the inverted commas. This is important for you to notice. It cannot be outside. If you place it outside, then it would mean totally different. Like, for example, did you not hear her say, it's been a long day? And you can see the usage of the question mark is outside the double inverted commas, which means that this question mark is actually not for this statement, but it is actually for this whole entire statement that we have used over here. Did you not hear her say, it's been a long day? This itself is a complete statement, unlike over here. Now, this entire statement is not your question. This entire statement is not your question at all. Well, the question is, the first clause is a statement and the second clause is your question, which demands a question mark, which we have placed it inside the quotation mark. If you place it outside, it would mean that you are placing a question mark for this. Therefore, it has to be placed inside the quotation marks. But then here, the whole statement itself is your question, and there is a highlighted phrase inside, that is, it's been a long day. So there's a highlighted clause inside within a statement. Therefore, this question mark is needed by this complete statement and not by this clause. That is why here you use the question mark or the punctuation mark, whatever that is, outside the quotation mark. Even if it is an exclamation, make sure, supposing if your statement is an exclamation, entire statement is an exclamation, use it outside. But if it only refers to this, then use it inside the quotation mark like this, like the way we have used it over here. But here, use it outside because the question mark is not for this phrase within, but actually for this entire question. The same is with the second example, which is given over here, which is, although it's a little boring, it certainly deserves a thumbs up. Now, thumbs up is in inverted commas, but this full stop, but this period is actually for this statement and not for this phrase, which is in inverted commas. So in case you end your sentence with double inverted commas in direct speech, then make sure you are putting it inside the inverted commas. Otherwise, use it outside, like the way you have used it over here, like this. So those are the rules with punctuation with rules of punctuation with quotation phrases. Now let us go to single quotation marks and what's the function of them in a statement. Well, single quotation marks are used within the double quotation marks to emphasize something like, she said. Now this is one clause. This is another clause from here to here. I heard him say, that is lovely, to her. Now this is clause number 2, which is already in your double inverted commas. And within this clause, you need to highlight something else. You need to bring about some other emphasis to another phrase, which is you will emphasize with single inverted commas. There's no need for you to put in double inverted commas over here because there is a phrase outside this with double inverted. So when you want to highlight something inside a double inverted comma, inside a phrase which is already in quotation marks like this, I heard him say, that is lovely, to her. So here you already have a quote inside quotation marks, and then you have another quote which is, that is lovely, which needs to be highlighted. So rather going in with double inverted, you can just use one single comma here and you are done. So that's the purpose behind using single quotation marks. Otherwise, you stick to double inverted commas all the time. Supposing if you have another phrase within a double inverted commas, you use a single inverted comma within to show the emphasis. The next one is ellipsis. Ellipses are used for omission of words and phrases in a sentence, or makes up for the missing piece of text, or which can be understood from the context. That is, like, for example, she sounded very upset about, ellipsis, for all I know, she might not come. Now over here, this is your complete statement. And she sounded very upset about, there is a whole entire story over here which has been omitted because it is understood by the person, by the one who is actually, either if it is reading or listening. The person who is reading this is actually aware of what that story is. So there is no point in expressing it for the second time. You want to omit it because the person who is reading it is already aware of it. Therefore, you can say, you can use this ellipsis, which is actually 3 dots like this. She sounded very upset about, for all I know, she might not come. So there is a story that we have omitted, and the person who is reading is pretty aware of the story. So he doesn't need, the one who is saying it doesn't require, he doesn't have to repeat the whole thing again, because the one who is reading or listening is aware of what has happened. The background story is clear to the one who is listening or reading. Another situation is like, for example, the passage which begins from here. He was drenched in rain, and from there to, now he thinks it's too late, till here. That is from here to here. Probably here there are a bunch of lines, there are a bunch of sentences, or probably paragraphs, we don't know. So rather reading all those number of lines in between, the writer decided to write the beginning of the line and the ending line, and for the writer to understand, for the reader to understand that this part has been omitted. So this ellipsis means it has been omitted. The great part of the writing has been omitted, and this gives us the explanation. So rather reading the whole passage, we have omitted, and this ellipsis functions like this. So the next one is a hyphen. Hyphen is a small dash that we use to join compound words like daughter-in-law. So you can see there is a tiny hyphen here. We have 3 words and we have brought them together, and this is a compound word. Similarly, sister-in-law, you can see there is a hyphen here, there is a hyphen here, and we have made this as one word and it is a compound word. Similarly, 23, 25, 21, all those words are brought together because they are 2 different words and you need to make them as one. Therefore, hyphen is functioning over here like combining. Is used to combine 2 different words and to make them as one, like this. So that's the function of hyphen. Next is the parenthesis. Now, parenthesis is nothing but the usage of brackets. We also call them brackets, or we also call them parenthesis. A word or phrase or a sentence inserted within a sentence with 2 curved lines like this to give additional information which is necessary to complete the sentence. For example, she finally completed her thesis paper and got it approved. Now this is our statement. She finally completed her thesis paper and got it approved. Which paper? And that information has been put in bracket or parenthesis. So this is the additional information about which thesis paper she has written. So when you have to give that additional information, you use this, you put that information inside brackets, and there you have your information which is necessary, which is relevant to your sentence. Another one is, I totally agree with Mrs. Maria's opinion. Now over here, Mrs. Maria's opinion is, he is arrogant and needs to change. The person who is saying it is not actually stating it. She heard it. Maybe she's sitting in a group, a bunch of people where people are discussing and stating their opinions and all of that. So rather repeating the whole, information, she just said, I totally agree with Mrs. Maria's opinion. And what is Mrs. Maria's opinion? Which, of course, for the reader has to know. Therefore, we have put that information in the bracket. He is arrogant and needs to change. So that was Mrs. Maria's opinion, which I totally agree. And the next one is, she attended the party. And the extra information is with her friend. So that has been put in bracket. So that's the function of parenthesis, or you can also call that as brackets. So these are our few punctuation marks which you need to use in your English writing to make your writing clear for the reader to understand better, or for the reader to understand what you are trying to express. So use it in your writing very carefully and very clearly. Make your writing interesting. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe, and do not forget to hit that bell icon to get those notifications. Also remember, you have to type the code TA01 to get that extra 10% off discount on your existing discount on the subscriptions that you have. Remember, let us crack the CBSE 9th and 10th examinations with the subscriptions. Do not forget to get that extra 10% off discount with TA01 code. Do join our Telegram group for latest updates and our upcoming videos. Well, until then, thank you very much for watching. See you again. Bye-bye.